From the action hero saying an anti-LGBTQ slur, to having too much to lose by making these mistakes. Here's how Jason Statham nearly lost his $80 million fortune after careless comments. It's pretty heartbreaking when one of your favorite actors does something so horrible. Unfortunately, it happens pretty often, which sucks not only for fans, but also for all the offended communities. There were some very dumb things the action star said that could have easily gotten him canceled. Like the time he used a slur several times in an interview. There have been rumors that the actor made homophobic remarks on the set of the movie called Wild Card about 5 years ago. With the video resurfacing, fans have been heartbroken to see another favorite actor fall off the pedestal. An insider told fans that Statham and his longtime producing partner Steve Kazman got into a fight while making the 2015 movie about gaming. During the argument, Statham is said to have used the slur many times. I mean, it's bad enough to say it once, but saying it again and again is not cool. It isn't acceptable in any way, but what's even stranger is how the actor is responding to the charges now. He wrote out a long post and put it up on Facebook. The transporter actor claimed to support the LGBTQ community and understands how hurtful his words were, but his apology doesn't do much to make up for what he said. Sources say he doesn't even remember what happened, but wouldn't you want to forget doing something this problematic? Statham's lawyer has come to his rescue though, saying that according to the Electronic Surveillance Act of New Orleans, the actor is in the clear, because anything said in a private chat shouldn't have been recorded. Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens. It's pretty easy for the actor to be canceled, which would be fair, but sad since he worked so hard to make it. In the past 20 years, his charm and chiseled body have made him a favorite among action movie fans. But he didn't always want to be on stage, since he used to be a talented diver who wanted to go to the Olympics. But instead, Statham became an action hero who fights thugs in tuxedos. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, when the crank actor was in his early 20s, he wanted to make a name for himself as a diver at the British Commonwealth Games. During a talk with IGN, he talked about his time there, telling fans that he'd been on the national team for 12 years. He believed swimming was a great way to learn how to control yourself and focus, and it also kept you out of problems. The actor climbed to the top of the high dive and did many flips, twists, and dives that were perfectly planned and executed. Diving wasn't a very profitable business though, and he would only get famous if he made it to the Olympics. Unfortunately, he never did. With training taking up so much of his time, he couldn't do much else and was having trouble paying his bills. So he sold some of his own things on the street to make up the difference. He decided to keep diving as a hobby, since he couldn't make money off of it. Things got so bad for him that he had to get creative. During the worst of it, he would stand on street corners and sell perfume, jewelry, and other expensive things to make extra money. But he had some things to keep him sane. Since the actor liked martial arts when he wasn't scuba diving or selling things on the street corner, his training in martial arts gave him the body control he needed to dive, which required him to be super fit. That's when a modeling company noticed him, and soon he was in commercials and music videos all over England. Things just got better from there. One day, when Statham was selling his stuff, a friend put him in touch with a director named Guy Ritchie. Ritchie put the hot young actor in his 1998 movie, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. People loved him as a street thug, and the movie had scenes that showed off his athleticism and personality, so he finally broke his way into the industry. The talented actor became a star right away after being in Ritchie's movie. 2 years later, in 2002, he was the star of a movie called The Transporter, and from then on, his career took off. With other veteran action heroes like Bruce Willis and Arnold Schwarzenegger getting older, the time was ripe for the young actor to take over the genre. His popularity and the parts he played after that grew over time. He was the main star of Ritchie's expensive action movies for many years, and Statham's quick rise to fame shows that he was always going to be a big name in action movies. And why wouldn't he? He's good looking, charming, and has one great body, because of which he can do his own stunts. I'll dive into some of his most iconic movies to show you what I mean. It'll help you understand what's at stake because of his problematic comments. Starting off with his role in the 2002 movie Transporter. In it, he played Frank Martin, the driver who follows 3 rules and never breaks them. Whenever you think about Jason, this movie immediately comes to mind. Even though it's a cool movie with a very memorable motor oil fight, Statham really shined in the sequel. This was also the first franchise that his acting spawned. In the movie, in just 88 minutes, the actor drove his car so fast that even Dominic Toretto couldn't catch him. While driving, he beat up a bunch of Eurotrash bad guys, the top henchwoman with a wine rack cracking funny one-liners the entire way. All this done in a handsome suit that he doesn't even wrinkle. Then we have another iconic movie in his roster, the 2006 action film Crank. It was one of the most original action movies of the 2000s. In it, Statham plays Chev Chelios, a British hitman who gets poisoned and must keep his adrenaline at a high level to stay alive long enough to find out who wants to kill him. This sets the stage for a downward spiral into all kinds of bad behavior, like fights with thieves, driving recklessly, trying out every kind of drug known to man, and even having some questionable public sexual activities. The fast pace of Crank, which comes from the film's lively direction by Brian Taylor and Mark Neveldine, and Statham's manic energy, made it one of the coolest movies ever. Even this movie got a sequel called Crank High Voltage, released in 2009. He did a bunch more action movies, but another one that stands out is a rom-com. Yep, he did that too. In the 2015 movie called Spy, starring alongside the brilliant Melissa McCarthy, he did a full 180, making fun of all the stereotypical hitmen that he'd been playing in the past. Statham's performance as CIA agent Rick Ford took over every scene he's in, overshadowing McCarthy's more subtle but always funny work. Ford's claim that the CIA has a face-off machine is one of Spy's funniest running gags. This character is so crazy that you can't help but laugh at him, and it shows that the actor can do a lot more than just punch people in the face, which he also does very well. While this movie stands out because of the genre change, nothing can beat Statham taking on a prehistoric shark. I'm talking about 2018's The Meg. Not only was it one of the best shark movies ever, it helped us see what an amazing diver he is. The actor used his knowledge of water in this high-budget monster movie, about a big shark that escapes from a deep-sea trench. Statham played a typical tough guy in this movie, but he breaks up the routine with his impressive diving skills. People loved the movie, mostly because of Jason's role in it, but also because it's so fun to see people get eaten by sharks. After being in development hell for more than 20 years, Statham and an international cast that included Lee Bingbing, Cliff Curtis, and Rainn Wilson made over $500 million at the box office, with some pretty amazing movies already under his belt, like playing Deckard Shaw in the Fast and Furious series. He has a bunch of projects lined up too. The well-known action star made another movie with his fellow British director Guy Ritchie, called Wrath of Man. Fans have been waiting for decades for them to make another movie together, and it looks like that day is finally here. Statham has many projects coming out, including a sequel to The Meg, and a possible sequel to Hobbs and Shaw. As I said before, he has too much at stake to be this careless now, because he might lose all the effort he's put into his career. So, from having too much to lose by making these mistakes, to the action hero saying an anti-LGBTQ slur, that was how Statham nearly lost his $80 million fortune after careless comments.